Let's create our first line now. And for that, open your Engine Framework project here and let's write a function for our line creation. And let's call it create line. This function will return a result, like we did it here with the drawFrame function. And inside this function, we will create the line, set its position, and we will set the line color. But to do this, we need our engine variable inside this function here. So what we need to do now is to pass this engine variable as argument here. And now we should be able to create a line, and this is very simple because all we need to do is to write engine, then we choose line. This is the line class, and we choose create. You may notice now that this function here requires a parameter, and what it needs is an unique ID to actually identify this line here. And this is how the engine works really. You define IDs for different class objects so that you are able to identify them later in your code. So let's create this ID and let's call this one first line. And let's set this one to 1. And of course you could choose any other value you could imagine, but please remember that this ID must be unique to lines. So let's pass this one as parameter. And of course we should return a result. And again, if this function would succeed, it will return LE no error again. Otherwise, an error code will be returned. And that's all you need really to create a line. Of course, we need to return the result here. And by the way, let's make this one a constant parameter. Okay, very good. So next thing we wanted to do is to set the position. But first, let's check the result. And now we can call engine, line again, and set. This function here will set the line's position. And it requires two parameters. The first one is our ID again, to identify the line. And the second one is the line itself. And for that, we should define our line first. So this is the time where LunarMath, which is a library for mathematical operations, becomes part of our code because it contains a line variable, which is called line D, and D stands for double values. And let's simply call this one line. And to define a line, we would have to pass 2 points to this variable here. So let's create 2 points, and LunarMath also has a point variable which is called point D. And let's call this first one P1, and let's create a second one and let's call it P2. Then choose just some random coordinates. I'll choose 2020. And for the second one, let's choose 100, 100. Then just pass them to the line variable. And then we will be able to pass the line variable to this function here. Great! We set the line's position now. Of course, we should catch the result here. Okay. And now let's do the last thing we wanted to do. Let's now set the color of the line. And for that, let's check the result first again. And to set the color of the line, it's very simple. Just type in engine line and choose set color. And again, the first parameter is our ID and the second parameter is our color value we'd like to set. And this time I chose a red color value. And I hope it fits with the blue background color here really. But that's it. That's all we wanted to do with our line. Let's now call our createLine function inside our main function. And for that, we first need to write a prototype of our function. And of course, we need to pass this type as parameter. And let's call this function here. First check our result again. I'll tell you why in a minute. Let's catch the result here again. So what we forgot is the init function also returns a result. And we could remove this line actually. And we are done. So that's it actually. Let's now run our application. And as you can see, there is a red line now. But let me show you a little trick here, because I told you that we are going to center the line here. So let the line start at a height of 100 and let's set it to 50 here. And what we can do now is here to call a function called getScreenWidth minus 50. Now if you run the application now again, you will see that the line is being centered. Great! That was fun creating our very first line using the engine.